Hey guys, welcome to Ozarks Traditional. I'm Tandy, and this episode is being filmed on August the 20th of 2025. So September is fast approaching. Season opens here in Missouri September the 15th. So I guess the question is, how am I going to handle September when it gets here, traditional bow hunting? Stick with me just a little bit. I want to take you along on a little walk into the area that I'm going to be hunting in and kind of share some thoughts while I talk out loud with you. We'll be right back. The area I'm walking into now is my neighboring property. The owners have graciously allowed me to come in and hunt with my recurve out on this property. They bought it from another man that owned it, who I was neighbors with for a number of years. So I've hunted this property quite extensively and know it pretty well. When this property was purchased, I believe it was either 2016 or 2017. They clear cut this section through here and sold the timber off, and it is becoming, reclaimed since then, and it is just a crazy habitat for whitetail, for browse and forage. It is absolutely loaded. You can see a lot of sycamore trees starting to come back up, but right here you'll see this, it's just absolutely filled with blackberry. And for those that don't know, deer absolutely love to browse on young blackberry. So I bring my little small subcompact tractor out and bush hog out these trails and roads. And for the summertime, deer could not ask for a better place to come and lay down. So let's walk down this road just a little bit and contemplate just a little of what September means to whitetail, and therefore to whitetail hunters. This time of year, again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, it's August the 20th of 2025. That spurs a crazy time for whitetail deer. The photo period change will spur hormone production from, and I believe it's pronounced the pineal gland in a whitetail, which in turn creates an increase in melatonin. And the melatonin is what triggers the changeover from their summer thinner coats and starts bringing on the molting phase and brings the deer's winter coat on. This is not spurred by any temperatures. That has no effect on it. It is simply the change in the daytime and photo periods that come on. So they're going to get their winter coats, whether it's cool or whether it's hot. Now, I was lucky enough just yesterday, we had a good rainstorm come through that broke a drought that we had for several weeks, and it was terribly hot, well into the 90s. And that brings on the challenges of September. September here in the Ozarks, it can be 70-degree days, 50-degree nights, or it can be upper 90-degree days and 80-degree nights. And it could be one week, it could be another the next week, who knows. So there's some challenges for hunting whitetail in September. Now, I want to be absolutely clear right now that I don't plan on coming out the first day of the season and harvesting that deer and saying, look what I did. This is not a sprint. This is going to be a marathon that we run out this season. So what I plan on doing for the couple of weeks in September is basically getting on stand as much as I can and making it more of a scouting mission. So that's going to be the mindset that I bring together on where I place a couple of stands, because I want to get on those stands and I want to observe. Now, not only is a deer's coat changing from summer to a winter coat, it also triggers an increase in testosterone for the bucks. What that means is they're going to be shedding their velvet, and then in the proximity of their bedding areas, they're going to be getting up. You're going to start finding an increase of rubs as the testosterone increases and as they knock the velvet off of their antlers. So that's also something I'm going to be looking for in September. Where do I see these bedding rubs start happening, and what are the patterns associated with it? Now, it has been so hot and dry here at the last of this summer here that I've got, I don't know if you'd call it a strategy, but I've got a thought that there's still not a lot of water available. So I know where a couple of smaller ponds are, that is going to be the beginning of my sits and my scouting sits, I guess is the best way to put it. So I'm going to take you by a couple of those, and as soon as I get to the first one, we'll stop right there, look around a little bit, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. Hang with me. So I've moved around the east end of the field that we were looking at. We were walking east as I turned on that little bush hog trail, and I'm back around now on the southeast corner of that overgrown field. I've got the trees banking me to both the south and the east from here on out to their property lines, and I've got this trail coming down along the edge of the timber in the clear cut. Now, they have got tons of browse out in this field, and the understory of this on those hot dog days of summer is much cooler underneath all of this growth that's out there. It's very well protected. They've got plenty to eat on, and they don't have to move around much in the hot days. Now, we're going to walk up on it here in just a second, but right on the other side of these little trees right here, there's a small little pond that's available to them. There's not a lot of water in it, but there was quite a bit of activity. And right on the other side of this little growth right here, day before yesterday, I came out and I actually bounced a velvet buck that was bedded right in behind this pond. He came out and went back in towards the woods along this side over here. What I was doing out that day, I came to put a game camera on this pond to kind of see the time of day that they were utilizing it and what direction they're coming into this little pond on. So let's walk over here to the edge of it for just a moment. And I don't know if you can see it, but at the base of that little cedar tree right over there, I have the game camera over this little pond here. Let me step down in here and I'll see if I can't even activate it and get it to go off. But the tracks are here and evident that they've been using this little pond. So hopefully I can get some idea of where they're coming in from. I've got trails right back here along the top side of it where they've been using and feeding into it. And my strategy for this area is to come back in, find one of these trees right back over here where I can see both that bush hog trail and look over into little trails leading up into this little pond. If it turns hot on me again, deer they're as lazy as anybody. They're going to use the path of least resistance, if you will. And this is going to give me a good vantage point where I can see movement out into the field along this little bush hog trail and activity coming up into this little pond. With the help of this game camera, I'm going to leave it out for the next couple of weeks till the 1st of September or so. I'll come back and pull some of the footage off of that. And by that time, deer will have started probably rubbing their velvet at that point. And if it cools down enough, they may start a little activity and might see a little bit more movement in the daylight. So that's probably going to be, this, and then I've got one more spot that I want to take you up and look at that. We'll walk over to this next little pond down here, and we'll talk about that just a little bit and how I plan to try to utilize that spot. So now I have followed a little trail that actually leads into the woods from the last little pond that I was at. And I came from this direction, walking down this little dim trail here. And for those that have been with me for a while, when I first started this channel, early on in my videos, I had a compilation of my game camera videos that I put together. And on this particular trail, the one I'm walking right now, just down to where that the sunny part begins, right there under a licking branch there was a, nope, I'm sorry, it's maybe a little closer to me, but anyway, there was a major scrape happening at that time, and I captured probably 8 or 10 different nice bucks utilizing that scrape, and I've got those on that little compilation if you'd like to go back and look at that. But that's for later in the year. That'll be more towards October when the scrapes start opening up. You may see a couple late September, but probably the first part of October before they get very strong into that. But what I wanted to show you here is another little water source for the deer. Nice little pond with trails leading into it. And I'm going to walk around over to the back side of it real quick. And that rain we had yesterday really helped to put some water back into these little ponds. They were getting pretty dry, so was really glad to see that. Watch my step going along this little dam right here. So into this area here, you've got more tracks coming into it. And on that little sycamore tree right there in the corner, I have another game camera along that one, so I can see what comes in from the wooded side to take a drink of water here and see what times of day that's being utilized. Now, just a little further back into the woods behind this pond, there's another really dim trail that works its way down some thicker woods, and the deer really like to utilize that little trail also. Let me walk back over there and I'll give you my thoughts on that part of it. Now, I don't know if it'll pick up on camera or not, but there's a very, very well used trail coming in to this water source just right here. And again, I don't know how well it's going to show up on this little GoPro, but it is a well-beaten game trail that works its way down into that pond. You really have to watch the spider web this time of year. As I step out behind that, I'll come across another little dim trail here in just a moment. It works its way down the edge of a bedding area for the deer. And I promise you this will be an area that I come back to later in the year. And in just a moment I will show you why. There's a trail that works its way up right through this area along the edge of that pond. And as I come right in here, I've got persimmon tree, 3 persimmon trees, another persimmon tree, another persimmon tree. They really flock in to this little grove of persimmons here. And the trail leads down, goes right back along this edge right over here, and works its way down to another persimmon grove, which leads to another persimmon grove, which crosses a little opening and goes into another stretch of woods where I will be having another stand put together on an absolutely hammered out trail right next to more persimmon trees. So these guys right here, I'm hoping will be my bread and butter after a frost hits and some of those persimmons start dropping. But again, that's for later on also. I don't want to be sitting this area right now because I don't want to burn it out before anything really starts happening with those persimmon trees. But what I don't mind doing is coming in a little closer to the water source and to that trail that will be the beginning of where they start laying some of their scrapes. And again, it will be a really nice observation place for me. Come out in the evening time as it starts to get a little bit cooler and be able to keep an eye on these areas. So that's kind of the direction that I plan on using the first couple of weeks of season, from September 15th on up into probably the first week of October. That's how I plan on spending some time. As much as, I mean, if a deer happens to come up on him, am I going to pass it up? Absolutely not. I'm ready to test myself with my recurve. But and here you can probably see the little opening. This is the little trail I was speaking of. It works its way down through here. And again, deer take a path of least resistance also. They like to travel, and there will be scrape lines opened up on this trail also. So that's how I'll be using September as an observation to check on deer movement. And I just have to wait and see what the weather patterns are going to do. If it's going to turn off a little cooler, if it's going to stay hot. September is a work on the fly kind of thing. Take Mother Nature as it comes and adapt and overcome and use what's available to you. So I'm going to ease back out again, look a little bit more for any tracks, for any sign. It's still pretty warm, not like it has been, but we're still up into the 80s right now. And I'm not expecting a lot of deer movement. I'm thinking the deer are going to be in some of these little bottoms that are out here where it's a little bit cooler, and they'll be underneath some of that overgrowth that's out in that field where they've got food and where they can stay cool and stay alert while we're out there. Great bedding area for the deer. So there's nothing to push them to move right now. And we're just going to have to wait and see how the temperatures play out moving forward. I'm going to leave these cameras out on these ponds through August, and probably the first week in September come back out and gather them and decide if I want to move those out into either some scrape lines. I don't know. It'll probably be late September or probably early October before I try to open any mock scrapes and get anything going. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. Appreciate you coming along with me. Look forward to chronicling the rest of this season, getting some more practice in, and hope you guys will continue to come along with me. So I had one more little thing to show you on this little property, and it'll be probably just strictly an observational little post right now, although it will be possible to have a little action to go on to this. This is very close back to my home. That tree line is my property line, and this is the neighbor's property line. It goes back this way. My property goes down, maybe another 100 yards, and then heads back to the north again. But this white oak tree left out in the middle of all of this, it absolutely rained acorns last year. I'm going to have to wait another year or so before we get another good crop out of it. So very little happening on it right now. But what I did was bush hog a little trail down to this and cleared out the little area underneath it. And there are trails just leading into this area from all through this. And even this year, but especially last year, this little corner back over in here, that was a bedding haven for deer. The blackberry vines are just so thick in there, so they got a lot of food. Don't know if anything is showing up on camera, but the trails coming out just almost look like spokes of a wagon wheel. So I will probably set a stand up into that where I can look down over into this and kind of detect maybe some movement or where the animals are bedding. And I've made it very easy and approachable. I've taken my little tractor and bush hogged this little trail out that's leading down into it. But I also cut another little trail in from my fence line that's 300 yards from my backyard to come through those woods and then step over into this to get to this. So it could be a stand that I could easily get to. And a lot of times I just like to sit in the evening and watch and observe and just be out here. I don't think it's going to be a great stand to be in for attracting the deer this year, because it just doesn't have the acorns in it this year, but it'll happen again. You can bet on that. So that's really all I've got to show you for what I'm going to be doing for the month of September, leading up into bucks getting a little more active and the deer moving more in cooler temperatures. So if you guys have any thoughts, any suggestions, any questions that I've talked about on this, please, I invite you each and every time to get down into the comments, talk to me. I do always everything I can to give a thoughtful reply to every comment that comes into me. Appreciate you guys so much, and I want you to know that. So drop down in there, even if you're not doing anything but saying hello. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot, and remember, y'all come back.